Let's talk about the matchup here in Knoxville this Saturday. Tennessee and Alabama, 7 o'clock on ESPN, 7 o'clock Eastern time. Bring in from the 24/7 Sports Network, the Alabama team site, covering the Alabama Crimson Tide. Travis Reier from BamaOnline.com joins us here on the new Sentinel Sports Page. Travis, Vince, and Jessee Smithey, how the heck are you, Travis?
I'm great, guys, and I'd also like to see if Gruden could get him to break down that, the white banana that he loves? Maybe
Yes.
See if he has a grasp of the concept.
Spider 2 wide banana. He busted that out on Monday Night Football. I think the Seahawks-Packers game, he threw that out there. It's great stuff. Yeah.
Now you look for it because of that segment. Now you actually chart the play while you're sitting on the couch.
I know one starting quarterback in the National Football League in the AFC South that happens to know what that play is all about. That's for sure. All right.
Yeah, that's about it.
Let's talk about Alabama's quarterback, A.J. McCarron's status. Nick Saban said he's good to go. What are the injury concerns for Alabama heading into this Tennessee game?
They had a couple coming out of Missouri. Obviously, McCarron headlining the group, but Eddie Lacy had a bruised hand, but it looks like he'll be okay, the running back. Christian Jones, wide receiver, kick returner with an ankle sprain. He may be the most serious of the group, although it sounded as if he should be able to at least be available this week, but it'll be interesting to see what his status is as the week moves along. So, I would say those guys are right now at the top of the list, and should be available again for Tennessee.
Where would you stack Alabama's receiving core against some of the top 2 or 3 in the SEC? Would you put them in the top 3?
I don't know if they're there yet, Jesse. They're deep, which is a good thing because they lost DeAndre White a couple weeks ago to a knee injury in the Ole Miss game. But they have some guys that depth-wise I think are as good as what Nick Saban has had at Alabama. They don't have a Julio Jones, but in Amari Cooper, a true freshman, they have a guy who's been extremely effective the last 4 weeks. Kevin Norwood has been effective really pretty much since last year's BCS title game. He's a guy that A.J. McCarron can count on. Kenny Bell is an outside threat with speed. Christian Jones is a very good slot guy. So, yeah, they have some depth at the position. Again, I don't know if they have a Justin Hunter or a guy like that that you see around the league right now. But as a group, I think they're as good as they've been under Saban.
Travis Reier from BamaOnline.com, part of the 24/7 Sports Network, the Alabama team site on the network. Joining us here on the new Sentinel Sports Page, Vince Ferrara, Jessee Smithey. When you see this Tennessee team, what do you see in terms of a challenge for Alabama, Travis?
Probably like everybody else, you see a passing attack that can hurt you in a lot of different ways, especially with the emergence of Cordero Patterson to go along with Hunter. You can't just load up or roll coverages towards one guy. They can get it to Patterson in a lot of different ways, and he can make plays. He's shown that. But I think this is the matchup a lot of people have been waiting to see for Alabama defensively with the turnover they had in the secondary from last year. And they missed Tyler Wilson in the Arkansas game because he was out with a concussion. They missed James Franklin at Missouri last week. He was out with a knee injury. So for that secondary and that defense, this is clearly the toughest challenge they will have had to date. And that's before you factor in an offensive line for Tennessee that's done a very good job in pass protection. At least from a statistical standpoint, they did not allow many sacks. So, that's the challenge this week. The matchups could be outstanding, especially when you consider D. Milner, Alabama's corner, leads the nation in passes defended right now, going up against Hunter and Patterson and guys like that. It's got the makings of being a lot of fun.
If Alabama continues on the course that it's on and is targeting that national championship game, and A.J. McCarron keeps playing the way he is, if he wins the Heisman Trophy, will it be because he's the best player on the best team, or he's actually the best player in college football?
I think he's on that Jay Barker platform right now, Jesse, winning and efficiency, which, that got Barker to New York in 1994. And let's face it, when you look around the country right now, who's really jumping out at you?
Exactly.
I think Geno Smith at West Virginia still, because his numbers are going to be so crazy even after the loss to Texas Tech. He's a slam dunk to be there. But Matt Barkley, is he going to be there? Is Tyler Wilson we talked about with his injuries?
Maybe
Monty
the Oregon
Ball up at Wisconsin.
The Oregon
maybe Murray. Maybe McCarron. It's very much wide open. 4 guys have to go up there, I'm pretty sure. They have to fill out the roster. And, I don't know if McCarron's the best player on the best team. I think he's the best quarterback on the best team, which probably goes as far as anything else in that race. But, he's been extremely efficient. I think he's going to have to be somewhere north of 25 touchdown passes, maybe in a ratio interception-wise of 25, 26 to 3 or 4, something like that. And then I hope that's enough to get him there.
Visiting with Travis Reier, learning about the Alabama Crimson Tide, the opponent for Tennessee this Saturday at Neyland Stadium, 7 o'clock here on the new Sentinel Sports Page. Has there been an area of this Alabama team that maybe has been the most improved, do you think, in seeing them so far, Travis?
I think they've been better than people thought they would be in the secondary.
Mm-hmm.
And they have produced a ton of turnovers. They have already produced 18 turnovers in 6 games. As good as that defense was last year, Vinny, they produced 20 in 13 games. So they're only 2 off their season total from a year ago. And they're plus 13 in turnover margin, which when you combine that with the way they run the football and the way they play defense, it makes them extremely hard to beat. So I would say not just the way the secondary's played or the pass defense to date, although, again, they're going to get challenged Saturday night, but the way they've produced turnovers, they've been outstanding in that regard.
No team in the country so far on Alabama's schedule has put up more than 14 points on Alabama. What do you see Tennessee scoring?
I think they can score. I think Tennessee scores in the upper teens to around low 20s, perhaps. I think they're capable of that. A lot of it's going to have to do with Alabama's offense, too, though, I think. If Alabama's able to run the football and control the line of scrimmage like they think they probably will, it's going to make it even harder, because I just think Tennessee's defense, as bad as it is, puts even more pressure on Bray and that offense and probably forces them into some things that they would rather not do decision-making-wise. But I think Tennessee's more than capable of that because of, again, the weapons they have and the big play capability they have, and playing at home, that's got to help too. And that's got to be part of the recipe for them to pull a big upset Saturday night. Is that offense has to be on full go from the outset. It's going to have to be for them like it was for South Carolina a couple of years ago in Columbia.
Do you think Alabama just pooch kicks on every kickoff to, number one, keep it out of Cordero Patterson's hands, and number two, they may recover that thing?
You never know. But, Alabama gave up a long one for a touchdown at Missouri last Saturday after the rain delay and the lightning delay, and, that gave them something to coach up this week. I know Nick Saban was probably happy in the aftermath about it because it gave him something to rail on him about. But with Patterson back there, you have to be careful. I will say this for Kate Foster. I think the rule change has helped him, the kickoff guy for Alabama. He has 18 touchbacks in SEC play this year, which is the most of any kicker in the league. So, if you're not going to kick it in the end zone, I wouldn't be totally against hanging it up there. Alabama likes to use a lot of freshmen on that kickoff team, and it kind of showed up on that return last week.
Has the kicking game been that much improved? Is there confidence in Shelley or Foster in a critical situation? Did they improve that much, or is that still TBD?
I think it has, and I think Shelley is really kind of established himself as Mr. Reliable from inside 42 yards or so. He handles most of those and kicked 5 field goals in the BCS title game last year, although he did miss an extra point at the end. But I think they feel good about him. And Kate Foster has rebounded extremely well from a nightmare season he had a year ago. He handles long kicks, and I believe he's made 3 of 50 or 46 or plus this year already. He's been much improved, and again, the rule change has helped him on kickoff. So I think they feel better in those 2 areas. Their punter, Cody Mandel, has been improved, although he did botch a snap last week. So outside of last week, I would say, yeah, special teams have been a good area for this team.
Travis, Vincenzo Sanseri said when he came up to visit in Knoxville during the bye week that his dad tried to get him fat, and he said he put on about 8 pounds. I'm sure that was via the Italian meals, no doubt, in that household. You know that.
Oh, no. And when I talked to Vinny in the preseason on Media Day, I asked him about it, and he said, I'm missing my mom. And he said it's the cooking that he was really missing. So I'm sure when he got up there in the open date, he did some serious damage.
He looked like he was moving around pretty well in Columbia, though. If he put the pounds on, it looks like he got rid of them.
Well, in all seriousness, that's going to be a great matchup, too. I mean, we talk about Milner and Hunter, but, when Tennessee goes 3 wide, that's going to be Zach Rogers and Vinny. Mm-hmm. And Rogers has the kind of quickness and speed that can cause some problems in that matchup. So that'll be one to watch, too. But, yeah, Vinny is shown to just have a great nose for the football. He's tied for the team lead in interceptions. He's recovered a fumble. Just instinctive, but a better athlete than I think most people gave him credit for coming out of high school.
Travis, another interesting matchup is the tight end for Tennessee. Mm-hmm. Michael Rivera is an awfully good receiving tight end. How has Alabama defended the tight end this year?
Haven't really been challenged, although, Chris Gregg of Arkansas was a little bit of a challenge, but without Tyler Wilson, they didn't really, show the full arsenal, obviously, in that game. So, yeah, when I say complete passing game, definitely including Rivera in that. And, that may be one where the tight ends the safeties come into play for Alabama. Guys like Nick Perry, Clinton Dix, but also watch C.J. Mosley. I mean, he's an inside linebacker, but he can cover. And it wouldn't surprise me if you see him running with Rivera a little bit down the seam.
Travis, is the mystique gone from this Alabama-Tennessee series because Tennessee is losing, or is it just because college football has just gotten so big time? They cut out the beer barrel between Tennessee and Kentucky. They just trying to get rid of some of the tradition, maybe.
I don't think it has. I think it's still something that means a lot to both schools, and I know it means a lot to the Alabama fan base. It's all about demographics. It depends on who you ask within the fan base. If you ask the old guard of Alabama fans, they'll tell you this one ranks right up there with Auburn, if not higher than Auburn. It meant a lot to Paul Bryant. I mean, it was the game for him. So for the old guard, if it was good enough for Coach Bryant, it was good enough for them. And I think people in the northern part of the state, obviously it's a big game. In some ways, it's like it was in the 90s when Florida-Tennessee kind of took over with those teams in that decade that were so good. That game became more important in terms of the conference and national landscape, much like Alabama-LSU is now. Mm-hmm. But it was still very important back then to both fan bases, and I still think it is now.
Travis, really appreciate your insights. Great to visit with you as always. Tell people about the website and how they can learn more about Alabama throughout this week. I know one of your stories was even contributed. You guys swap out with Go Vols 24/7. We had Ryan Callahan on earlier and just kind of looking into each other's opponents on your sites, right?
Yeah, it's great stuff. Appreciate those guys having us contribute that stuff, and they do a super job with that site. I mean, it is a monster site. So, but as far as Alabama stuff, you can reach us at Alabama247sports.com or BamaOnline.com. Either way will get you to us.
Travis Reier, REIER on Twitter. Travis, looking forward to seeing you here in Knoxville, my friend. Take care. Have a safe drive up.
Thanks for having me, guys.